Oh, 30-second delay. Just waiting on the double check. Still tells me I'm offline, but we'll see. Refresh that. We're getting there. Oh, there it is. We're on. Okay, good. Alright. Well, hey everybody, this is Ben from Cinderblock Studios, and welcome to Cinderblock Studios live on Twitch. I'm a visual artist working and living just north of Pittsburgh, PA, here in the United States, and I'm going to be working on some fantasy landscapes today, and I hope you enjoy it. So, this particular piece, if you saw last time I was streaming, I had just started this piece. I just dropped in the sky. And as you can see, it's actually just about done now. I'm got maybe about 20-30 minutes left to really kind of put some extra bit of detail and polish into this. After that, it's just going to be about signing my name and moving on to the next project. But in addition to this piece, I also have 3 mini paintings I'm working on. Today I want to start another small 11 by 14 piece, and if I have time, maybe I'll throw in some other odds and ends types of projects in there. As I go, I will be giving you little updates along the way as to what I'm doing, how I'm doing it, and of course how you yourself could work on it as well, or at least a piece relatively similar. I love giving tips and tricks along the way, so I hope you enjoy it. And if I can figure out how to pop out my chat. I think it was popped out and I closed it, and now it's got a problem. So hold on, let me tabs. Wow, it doesn't even show up there. That's weird. Why is it not letting me do that? Oh, there it is. That's one. Nope, not there. It's there. Okay. Still trying to figure out where everything is in Twitch. It's a very different platform than what I'm used to. So, yeah. Anyhow, let's go ahead and get started working on this. I gotta double check. Sorry. Yeah. Alright then. Well, so yeah, working on this painting. Right now I'm just kind of detailing some stuff out. You probably see a little bit of a glare here. A lot of the paint colors I have in here have a high gloss to them, so you're going to see a lot of variance in that. Now when I finish a piece, I give the whole thing a gloss coat. So in the end, you actually won't see that differential. Okay. So what I'm doing at this point is just kind of making these rocks in the foreground seem a lot more like these rocks in the background. A little bit highlighted, a little bit shadowed. Although I just used some black in the shadow here, so I want to come back in with some blues, and I've got this nice deep burgundy brown color I'm going to work in as well. I need a little more highlighting just in the land, particularly on this right side. Mostly because I have a figure here, and he doesn't show up at all right now, and I really want him to stand out just a little bit more. Helps put a little more balance in the piece between the city as well as just the rest of the piece. So I just have a nice thin small brush right now, and all I'm doing is just kind of basically sketching with the paint. these big rocks are fun because they allow me to do a lot more sort of interesting detailing. So this piece in particular is actually really interesting in that well, aside from it being a lot darker than a lot of my regular stuff, there's two different light sources here. So there's the light source coming from the sort of the inner burningness of the city. And there's the light source coming from the right. So in the process of doing my shadows in just a little bit, I'm actually going to be doing two shadows. I have a shadow coming from one light source and the other, so I have this split shadow thing going on. Which I'm not sure how I'm going to do that yet. I think the thing is with that is probably going to be to make the shadows two different colors. But not like two very, very obvious different colors, like more subtle. Yeah, that looks good. And right now there's like no transition between the highlight and the shadow to these rocks. And I'm not sure if I'm actually going to hold on to that. I feel like I want to do a little bit of a transition, like mid-tone, to give just a little indication of a few more shapes, so it's not just like white to black. Or white to dark in this case, since I'll be changing that up a little bit as I go. Like this rock in particular probably looks really weird, so it definitely needs a little more definition, particularly with a mid-tone in the center. Alrighty. So if you're just joining in this morning, welcome. I'm working on some fantasy landscapes this morning and giving some tips and tricks along the way. Talking about my process. I really should have a topic today. Something to talk about. I'll tell you what I'm actually thinking about though, which it was partially has to do with the music I'm listening to right now, is I went to ICD's big arts festival, the Three Rivers Arts Festival a couple years ago. And took I go almost every year, but I took my video camera that year, and I was going around recording little segments of artists, just kind of introducing themselves, and like, here, this is my work, and things like that. That was a really fun video to make. But one story that I don't think I ever really told live or in a video anywhere that came out of that show is that there were several artists that were like very against me being at their booth with a camera. Now, I do understand it to some degree. There are people that will go and take pictures of other people's artwork and then go make prints of them and sell them themselves, basically ripping off that artist. That is a thing that happens. I get it. But there's two problems with that. One, I had a video camera. I did not have a still frame camera. And camcorders are very, very obviously different than something like a DSLR. So it's like you're clearly not, like I clearly wasn't trying to rip anyone off, but there were a couple of artists' booths that I actually ran into, like almost just a hostile attitude towards anyone, like making even like the video copy of their work. They were like angry that I was there, and I was so. I guess because I'm a YouTube artist, that was so weird to me. I was like, why would you not want somebody to show your art? It's like to help you. It's like free publicity. Come on. And I was saying most artists either didn't care Just thought it was like, oh, YouTube thing, whatever. All right, they didn't really get it. And then the ones that kind of did get it were excited. They were like, oh wow, this is so cool. Like, man, I'm gonna be featured on this thing. This is gonna be great. But there were a couple the two in particular that really kind of caught my attention. And after like halfway through the day, I started I didn't ask to come in and start recording. I think which is partially the issues, which I started doing after a while. As I'm like, do you mind? I'm just gonna record this and whatever. And they're like, yeah, no problem, But there was a guy sculpting, and I really wish I could have shown his work because it was beautiful stuff. He had just a few pieces on display. He was sitting there sculpting live. And he was just like, he's like, I don't allow pictures. And I'm like, well, this is a video camera. It's like, well, duh, come on. And he's just like, no. And I'm like, fine. So I immediately just put my lens cap back on the camera and walked out. And this is sort of where it first kind of hit me. I'm like, yeah, okay, maybe not everybody is appreciative of this. But at the same time, I was like, that is just the wrong attitude to have. Just the no, I don't want you taking pictures, get out. And you don't give me a minute to explain. No, this is video. I'm giving you free publicity. No, they're just like, get out of my booth. And that to me, it's like, well, I don't care how good your work is. You're a dick. So it's like that's no way to sell art. That's no way to build a community. And that first guy, his booth was it was like empty, basically. People were passing him by. And I'm like, this probably is a good reason why, because dude, you're not friendly. If you're gonna sell at any kind of like a public market square or convention or anything like that, you've got to have some level of courtesy and be relatively friendly, because if you don't, you will drive away customers so fast. And the other guy, he was a painter, and incredible pieces. I, again, really wish I could have showcased his work, but it was sort of that same thing. It's like no pictures. Like, this is video. It's like, no, I don't care. Get out. And it's just like, again, it's like, I don't care how good your work is. The fact that you yourself drove me away, that I don't want to give even 5 minutes to your artwork. Like if you have a terrible attitude, it's like, no, you're not worth my time. Both, and I say that both as a content creator, I would say not both, but as a content creator, as a fellow artist, as well as just a fan, somebody interested, and if you're going to drive people away like that, I think you're really shooting yourself in the foot doing that. But yeah, so I haven't. It's been a couple years since I did that video. I've been thinking about doing another one. I actually see a lot of the same artists at that show every year, because that's what that's what a lot of artists do. They basically travel the country and hit all these shows, and that's basically their most of their living wage for a lot of I would say that older style visual artist. But yeah, I wanted to share that story because it was really, I was thinking about that. It was just like, it's weird, It's weird to be met with that level of negativity from an artist, because it's you don't see it often. At least to me, I don't see it often. Most artists I meet are just they're happy people. They're very I don't even want to say happy, because not all artists are happy. At least on the surface, they a lot of times seem to be. But I meet people and they're excited about their work. They're excited to show their work. They're excited to talk about their work. As am I. But when you meet somebody who's just that disconnected, it's just like, what happened to you, dude? And it's like, I can't even wrap my head around how cold they got to people, viewing their work. And it's like that's how you're gonna be. Just go home. You're not helping anyone out. Actually, along those same lines too, was listening to a Chris Oatly Artcast, which if you don't know who Chris Oatly is, go check out chrisoatly.com, because seriously, the guy's freaking incredible. Runs an online art school, among other things, as well as produces like 3 different podcasts. So his original one, the Chris Oatly Artcast, it does interviews with working artists in like animation and like TV and games and stuff. And there was one recently I was listening to. I tweeted about it as well. And the artist he had on talked about something that really kind of struck a chord with me, because art, at least to me, for a long time, I always felt like it's a selfish endeavor. You're shutting out the rest of the world to work on a thing. And then, like, yeah, maybe you go to sell it, maybe you don't, but it's always been like, it's like art's for you. Forget about everyone else. And that's the mentality I've kind of always worked with to some degree, at least in terms of my professional life. And what I gotta say, I don't want to just keep saying this person, but I don't remember their name. I think it was Artcast96, though, I will say that. What they talked about, though, was this idea that art, rather than being selfish, is in many ways an act of generosity. In that the stuff you're making is something that will, in many ways, may inspire someone. It's something that, and also in many ways, is presented to make someone happy, and that's just an idea that I didn't honestly think about. As an artist, you create something for the enjoyment of others, and it's like, yeah, I do. I never thought about it that way. And it's kind of really just changed my perspective on the whole process. And it's actually kind of, for me, allow me to rediscover almost a lost love to the process, because it's like, as I'm working now, I'm thinking about that. I'm thinking about who's going to be viewing this, what are people going to be thinking, but in a good way, because you can really kind of be crippled by, oh my god, what are they going to be thinking? But you can really have fun with that, and imagining your audience can really kind of make you think about, okay, what are people going to see in this? Where are the moments that make people go, oh yeah, check that piece out. And I like that idea, and I like the idea of being able to not manipulate your audience, but manipulate their emotions through the piece of work that you're doing. I think that's really cool. So, those are the facing highlights to those rocks. I have a little bit of this blue and a little bit of that brownish color, which I'm going to use as my mid-tone. Or sort of maybe extra highlight. I don't know what to call it. I do want a different brush for this, though. Still need something small, but something stiffer almost. I kind of want to just dry brush it. Suddenly just occurred to me a really good thing to do with this. I've been thinking about how to, because I'm highlighting from the right, but there is light coming from this left side, at least for a lot of these rocks. These rocks are a bit different, because they're going to get both. But you have this like deep reddish orange, and that light should, to some degree, reflect off the back of the shadow. So I'm actually going to get a thin brush, and probably some sort of a yellowish orange color, and just put a very, very thin highlight on that side. Probably so thin that it won't show up on camera, but I am excited to kind of figure out where those lines are. Okay, I've got this one that kind of wraps around. Yeah, I mean that's all I really needed with that, was just a little extra bit of subtle edging. Okay. So I do want to come back in with this dark color and come over a lot of that black, because that's the black, aside from being kind of shiny, doesn't really help me here in establishing these shadows. I'm kind of just a little bit tracing over that area just to tone it down. Or maybe up, I don't know. I don't know how you tone down black. Maybe you tone it up, I don't know. Yeah, this is a really subtle thing too. A lot of things that probably aren't going to show up real well on camera, just based on the fact that it's a camera. It's not going to pick up on everything. Again, I have this front one which wraps around a bit, so I gotta do a little more with that. Still probably going to come back in with the liner brush too and do a little extra finessing, but once I get in here. Okay, it feels pretty good. Actually, since I'm working with this dark, I actually may not need the additional sort of extra shadow work I was thinking of coming from this light. I kind of just need this stuff go then. So that should be good. I just gotta kind of redefine these shadows a little bit that are here. Just with that brownish color. A lot of times you're using blue in shadows to kind of give contrast to warm light, but for the time being I'm just trying to balance all the colors as a whole and hide that black, but lost my shadow for this one. Alright, I feel pretty good about that. So I want to get a couple different blues here, I think. Some Prussian. And... oh, not a couple different... that, no, I wanted this, this red. Regular CAD red. Because what this is going to allow me to do is get that hairline edge that I was looking for. And those at the edge of the rocks, so... mix a little bit of my funny yellow in here. An Indian yellow and CAD red to get just a bit of extra. So this is really like hairline edge there, so. But it's going to add bit of subtlety to a lot of these shapes that I know is lacking. And actually, this idea of one layer to other with the red line, I actually picked up. I was sort of taught this method from an artist friend of mine by the name of Jim Gentner. I did an interview of him over on my YouTube channel a couple years ago. Definitely worth checking out. Great guy, older, lots of experience. I say older, like he's older than me, like by like twice my age, or maybe more. The phrase I use is he's been painting twice as long as I've been alive, so I like that as a good metric. But he's a really good teacher. He's got a lot of good techniques as well to pass on and share. Yeah, this might be the boldest one I've got of the red lines. It's a little thicker. But I actually kind of like that. Yeah, this isn't much to make these little rocks stand out, but it's just enough. Using a little bit of just moisture in the brush here to kind of bring some gold into this rock. So these would actually be a little more lit by the fiery light. This one, maybe just the top of it. This is good. I'm actually going to be able to finish this, spray it, sign it, spray it, and upload it all today. Because it's actually a fairly nice day. Because if it gets real cloudy, I can't get a good picture, but I'll be able to get this one up online today, which is fantastic. And you'll be able to see this piece on DeviantArt, cinderblockstudios.deviantart, Facebook page. I think it might just be facebook.com/cinderblockstudios, not entirely sure. Might be /pages/ I don't know. I don't know how the Facebook one works. As well as on my website, cinderblockstudios.com /paintings. So I can also check out a myriad of my other work there anytime I've got a finished piece. Although Facebook's usually the last one, or not Facebook, my website's usually the last one to get updated, unfortunately. But, yeah. Okay. It's pretty good. Hello. The good thing about the way I've kind of painted this is I just basically just made a mess and just blended it out with my finger, because this is such a varied landscape that you can do really anything with this and kind of still be okay. After that big piece with all the symbols I was working on last month, this is sort of a nice break from that level of tediousness. And the couple of pieces I've got after this are also nice breaks from that tediousness, while still maintaining a little bit of I want to say action. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm rather happy with that. So I need a little more light in my baseland here. And I think just some simple dry brushing will get me there. Something kind of stiff, though. Stiff, I'm just going to grab right into my funny white. I want to define this edge a little more here. That's too much paint. It's still too much paint. Okay, for the dry brushing, we're going to do some wet brushing. I'm actually thinking about doing a wipe away technique here. So I'll get a Kleenex. So put it down and then pull it. Just need a little extra bit of something in here. So I like that. Put some paint down, wet it, wipe it. Just to bring something in here. 'Cause it's all really dark, you know. And it just needs a little more light on the right-hand side. I gotta be careful, because I could really easily overdo this. In theory, I should have done this before I was working on those rocks, but I gotta try and keep this movement I've got going on here. light right on top of him. Because he needs to be getting in this light patch. And while I may not be dry brushing here, like I kind of said I was going to do originally, I do have a nice stiff bristles, so I'm able to really just scrub with this paint. Alright, so if you're just joining in, my name's Ben, I'm from Cinder Studios, and I am just going to town working on a fantasy landscape today, or at least finishing one up anyhow. Trying to give some tips and tricks along the way to my friends and fellow artists, but if you're just here to enjoy the show, just hang out, enjoy the show, and maybe learn a couple things about the painting process as a whole. And get lost in one of my worlds, because that's half the fun right there. Is getting lost in these kingdoms, these unique landscapes that I make on a weekly basis. A lot of my work is inspired by movie and game concept art, so a lot of what you see people doing digitally is the stuff I love doing traditionally. So you'll probably see a lot of influences there. So anything from like classic adventure games like Zelda to more modern stuff. Just the worlds people build are inspiring to me, so I build a few worlds of my own. Oh yeah, that's definitely what that needed. Because now I get this stark contrast. So I have this light here, sort of the darker ridge here where the two light sources meet, and then I have that fiery glow. And now I've got that difference is really, really nice now. And that's really what that needed. That needed that bit of light like 3 weeks ago when I first started this. There probably won't be as much of that light here since we're really far away from this light source now. But I do want to get a little bit in just to kind of balance ourselves out. My irritating edginess. Gotta paint the edges, that's my rule. Gotta do it. Well, part of my reasoning for doing it, if you're unfamiliar with my work, is that my pieces can hang without frames that way. Because framing is damn expensive. So, there we go. Yep, that feels pretty good. So I do need that secondary shadow coming from the fiery stuff, which actually probably wouldn't even reach out here. So, should be interesting. I just realized just in doing that I covered up a lot of my shadows, so I gotta come back in. But one thing I love doing is adding like those final shadows and highlights to things. I don't know why, but it's part of the process I just adore. Alright. What else do I got? Alright, so yeah, we wanted to get back to a couple of those shadows. So we're using this funny color for the stuff coming from the top and right. And I just lost a couple, so it's not bad. Shouldn't take too long to bring them back. And probably define them a little bit better than they were otherwise. Done. So my general rule is blue shadows for warm light, warm or reddish shadows for cool light, and that's kind of what the whole point of using this red was on the left shadows, is that all these shadows are being cast by this bluish light, so they're going to be warmer, and all these shadows from the reddish light are going to be cooler. That's why I grabbed that Prussian blue earlier, because that's a nice deep blackish blue color. Okay, I think these two were really the only ones I actually lost in that. Maybe this one up here. Alright. So my blue shadows from this area actually want to be a little bit thinner, and a little more, I don't want to say washy, but transparent. Because that light is not quite as dominant. So I'm grabbing some matte gel. And this is just going to make the paint transparent without changing the viscosity. Okay, now. Now these shadows kind of overlap with each other. So they should be a little more interesting. So like in doing these shadows, they're based on sort of a simple perspective. So all of these shadows from this light are longer this way, but all of these shadows are kind of the way the land is. It's this point in the center that's defining those shadows. So I have this shadow that's kind of pointing this way from this light, and this one's going to come a little closer to the viewer this way. And it's probably going to be a little bit shorter too. And again, these are really, really subtle changes that probably aren't going to show up on camera real well, so I do apologize for that, but you know, it's one of those things where if you're going to see this piece in person, you'll definitely notice all those little subtleties, which makes the piece a lot more interesting and a lot more complex. It's sort of what a lot of artists might call the 5-foot mark, which is the point in which you're far enough away that a lot of small details get lost, but you just are trying to see the entire composition. A lot of digital painters, when they do this, they'll just zoom way out on their composition and make it tiny on the screen. That way they can see the picture as a whole and make sure everything's working right. But this late in the painting process, this is where you add those little details where you've got to be really up close to see them. And when you do that, you know, I think tend to impress people a little bit more. It's like, wow, you put a lot of work into this. It's like, well, yeah. I remember last year? I think it was last year. might have been the year before actually. Everything blurs together these days. But I was working. I was working a gallery show, live painting, since they like to have me do that, and I met my art manager's parents, who came to that show. Really nice older couple, and it was funny because when people watch me paint, they can tell that I'm serious, so they don't want to bother me. Because I tend to, I just go to my resting expression, which for me looks like I'm a little bit pissed off almost, because I get really intense, and then by the time I step back and I'm like, oh look, there's people behind me, and everyone's like, oh, I didn't want to interrupt you. You look like you were really into it. So I was like, nah, please, by all means, shout at me, tap on my shoulder, do something, keep me engaged and interested. But couple introduced themselves as my art manager's parents, and I were Chris's parents, and I was like, oh, hi. There was sort of that the thing is, you look really serious, and I was like, well, it's my job, I take it seriously. And what was funny is his dad reached his hand out to shake my hand, and he goes, thank you. And it was just a funny moment, because it was, I guess, at least with my community, not everyone's super serious about it. That they're playing, they're having fun. But I walk into these events, with a serious mindset. I mean, I can still play and have fun at the same time, but I know that I'm there, like for business reasons. So I'm able to, I guess, operate on a slightly higher frequency than a lot of other people, and I guess I was appreciative that it showed, and knowing that, I guess for his parents, knowing that there is at least one artist in our collective that, I guess you could say, knows what they're doing. And that sounds like really assholey of me, but I go to these events, and I'm there usually like on time, like on the early time to set up. And there are people walking in like 2-3 hours into the show, like, here, I'm here to set up. It's like, what is wrong with you? It's like, seriously, like, I'm glad I'm not an art manager, because I would like kick these people to the curb so fast. I'd be like, you weren't here on time, get out. So you don't tell somebody you're gonna be there and show up that late. It's like, absolutely not. Learn how to keep an appointment. I mean, especially the kind of events too. I mean, these are big events that take a long time to plan. When you have artists not showing up, it's like you're wasting like people's time and money doing this, and you don't seem to care either. It's like, what is wrong with you people? The way I see it, though, these are probably people that are gonna paint until they're about 35. And then meet somebody and start a family and quit painting. I'm someone like me. I'm in it for the long haul. Even like that. If and when I meet somebody, settle down, whatever. It's about like, no, this is something I've dedicated my life to doing, and it's it's frustrating to see that. I guess is the point of that story. It's just that you get someone like me who's just so into it, and then to see people that are just like wasting these opportunities, and it's just like, no. Okay, so I got that figure to redefine. Shouldn't be too hard, though. I've got this nice dark reddish color. Actually, since the dark reddish color's going to blend in, I think he actually is the one I want to use the black on. Because that'll be a very different color from the rest of this. And it'll really help define his shape as a whole, which I think will be really good. I think it would be really fun to highlight this figure and shadow him to that same degree that we did before, so like a thin white edge here on for the rock side, and get some orange glow on him to the left. Orange glow is a floor cleaner. Don't know why that's so funny to me. Alright, so we got him and his shadow. Love getting those little guys in there. They really added just a nice effect to the piece. Alright, so I'm going to get a little bit of my funny whitish highlight. I don't usually highlight these guys at all, but I really want to get like just that defined line. Crap, I got water in there. Little water rolled off the brush into him. Not a big deal. All right. Okay, we'll get that little red line on him. That's nice. Okay. So in a lot of ways, he's reflecting a lot of the things with the rocks. So I like that idea. So I think at this point, we are on to just some final detailing. A lot of times I may sign at this point, but there's a couple extra pushes both to the highlight and shadow direction I want to do here, and a couple final lines to really kind of make some things stand out. So from here, I'm just going to go right into my titanium buff, which is my sort of that off-white I've been using all day. And I'm going to put a couple of those in the rocks. Since I didn't, I used a toned-down version of it for the rocks. Because I knew I wanted to define those edges a bit more later. Oh, my music stopped. I must have reached the end of my playlist. Gotta put something else on. These couple extra lines are really going to be nice to define some edges. And just add a little extra bit of something. Detail, I guess you could say. Detail, definition. Where's the rest of my music at? Alright, let's see. Alright. Now, so we got light coming from the top, so that edge, define that edge for us. Maybe a little bit on the right, but not a ton. Really need it here. This one really kind of faded into the one side. This one in the center actually aren't bad. I might leave them mostly alone. Just maybe one or two lines, not a ton. That's pretty good. And a couple extra darks. We're going to stick with that burgundy red color. Actually, maybe add a little bit of the blue to it, just to, again, give that little bit of a tonal variance. And again, these shapes don't need much. They're just a couple extra little bits of detail. Things that kind of got blurred out just from as I was working before. really like this foreground one. There's a lot of shapes I can define in here. Extra shadows, extra areas, crevices in the rock. I'm like the exact opposite. Like it's like so much the exact opposite of a portrait painter. Because the people are like, oh man, it's like drawing people are so interesting, and it's not to me. It's like the most boring thing in the world. But for some reason, I find just so much enjoyment in little shapes in the rocks and all that thing, which to other people is probably really dull. I just, but it's like, where are these little things? Okay, I can say a good example. I have this rock sitting here that I want to implement somehow. This is a piece, I think, a piece of limestone with a like a strip of marble in the middle of it. I guess because that's similar way to how they're formed. I don't actually know. So it's a sedimentary rock and then a mineral throughout the middle of it, and it's just so awesome. And I love this idea when I pick this up, and I love how like just rough and bumpy it is to see all these little underlying crevices and things. And that's the kind of thing I'm talking about with this, is being able to really kind of define those areas in a piece to make it seem just a little bit more realistic in that way. Okay, I might be able to call this done. This is really pretty good. I'm pretty happy with this piece. I haven't been happy with the piece in a while. Granted, the one with the symbol's pretty good, but I actually really like this. So, I think I want to sign in a darker color, because I just sign on the right here, which I can tuck into the corner. Like that idea. So we're going to do that. The question is, what kind of darker color? I think I've got some ink that I can probably use for this. Got a muted green acrylic ink that should work well. I think I may have used some of this originally when establishing a lot of the color in the piece, but I like this as a whole. A slow signature. That's the one thing I found was really interesting the past couple of years, is I've learned how to sign my name like one stroke of the brush at a time. I know what it looks like. I know what I want to do when I sign my name, so I can do basically my regular signature and just like take it so incrementally slow. I gotta sign in ink more often. This is actually working a lot better than I wanted it to. It's June now. June. Normally I just do 3 letters, but because like June and July are just 4 letters, it's like might as well just do all 4. Alright. Actually, normally I try and sign it up a little bit further, because if somebody frames this, they're probably going to cut my signature off. But I'd rather them cut my signature off than cut the rock off at this point. So, okay, there we have finished painting. I am ecstatic about this one. This turned out really nice. So a little later this morning, once the rest of this sort of upper paint dries, at least stuff dries on the surface, gonna get a picture, hit it with gloss coat, and yeah, get the piece up online, and then wired and hung on my living room somewhere. So yeah, should be good. Actually, what I may end up doing is putting a layer of matte medium on top first, and then getting the picture and then glossing it, just to be sure everything's in and together. Okay, so I've got these tiny little paintings that I really want to work on, because these are going to be a giveaway on the channel. I've actually got a fourth one up here that's already done. This one's almost done. These two are sort of in the middle. And these don't take long at all to do. I think they'll be really, really fun to do here live. Plus, it'll allow me to get them done. So, I'm going to zoom in a bit. If I can. I don't know if I actually can at this point. Alright, we're in. I gotta change my focus. There we are. May have to actually make some other adjustments at this point. Brightness and such. Down. Oh, there we go. That's pretty good. We'll go with that. Okay. So, a couple of small pieces. Yeah, this one just needs some highlights, basically, which I can probably do. I gotta grab a different, or at least another palette here, and I need some just a couple different colors here. So I gotta get a little bit of yellow. I'm kind of gonna work with a lot of my dirty brushes that I've been using already. So my grass needs highlighted. Which actually isn't going to take much. Deeper greenish blue for. See, now I got that white in there, polluting the paint. I need that. I need a little water, thin it out. Because right where these two hills meet, I gotta get. A little darker. Okay. Yeah, this one was really almost done. I just needed a couple little things. I'm gonna get some kind of a highlight for these rocks. I like the idea of doing a white and a yellow. A little bit of that brown. A little more blue. Almost a gray, I would say. That looks nice. So you're just gonna get a little bit of an edge. One of these paintings is basically a colored version of one of my sketchbook thumbnails, because my sketchbook thumbnails are about this big. And to do a sketchbook thumbnail takes me like, I don't know, 10 minutes. So doing one of these paintings, it's like maybe a half hour. So, kind of fun, really. Simple. The thing is, like, if you make... It's hard to make a mistake on a little canvas like this. I mean, it's actually very easy to make a mistake. But you can hide it so much easier because it's tiny. You can just, like, oh, that didn't look right. Just chalk it up to a little imperfection, the fact that it's just so small. Not that there's, I'm saying not that there's really a mistake in this piece, but there's a couple areas like, oh, I didn't really mean to push it that far, or, you know, whatever it happens to be. Yeah, that's nice. And of course, a piece this small, I'm not going to sign it on the front, I'll sign it on the back. And then we'll go, I think a little black, and a little of that green we used to sign with. I'm actually going to put a small figure into this one. This should actually be relatively tough to do, though. Probably be easier to do it with pen, but may define his shape a little bit more with pen, but I got him in there. Alright. A couple blades of grass. Little flowery things. Just to get a little bit of a texture variant. Alright. It's another mini painting done. See, I don't entirely remember what the title of the piece was. Oh, there it is. So I do have sketches for them all, which helps. So with these, I'm doing my signature and a title on the back. Alright. So these two will be part of each set. So I'm going to do, it's like a one-in-one like this, or one-in-one like this. I haven't quite decided which way yet. but basically a warm colored one and a cool colored one for each person in the giveaway. Okay, so I think my colors are going to lead me to doing this one a little easier next. So I have some rock shapes. I think a toned down version of this color will work. That's blue. Starting with sort of a shadow layer to these rocks. Still have orange juice here. It's probably really warm by now. Fairly. So I have these spires that I'm gonna define a bit. Doing a white right from there. These mini paintings are really interesting. It's like you want to use a big brush and you can't. It's like there's just, at least not without just actually destroying something. Like even a medium brush is too big for this. You really gotta. I would say if nothing else, it really kind of teaches you about control. Alright. So I'll probably get a slightly bigger brush for this next part. Slightly. At least a flat brush, anyway. So we need a base tone for this land. I have no idea what I want to do with it. I'm thinking greener, actually. I mean, no, we did want to stay cooler. Well, yeah, we can do cooler and greener. Still have that blob of ink, so I'm gonna spread that around, I think. find a way to bring some light back into it, though. But it's definitely working as a good undertone. Maybe even some pinks, I'm not sure. Okay, now, where's the fold for this one? Not there. No idea. I know it's in here. I may have already folded the page though, which didn't help me with getting a title. Oh. Might as well move this over so you can see what I'm doing. Here somewhere. So I didn't think it was still in one of the folded pages, but I could be wrong. That's going to be the next piece I start. Nope. Some Kingdom of the Wind stuff. It's got to be in here, but not in here. Unless they're not even in the sketchbook, and I'm just... I feel like that could be the case if they're actually in my... Which one is this? 23. So I've got some of these started in 24. Nope. Nope. Nope, nope. Well, here we go. Here's one. That's the one we're working on. Of course, the title doesn't match what the thing is anymore. Have to adjust, I suppose, then. So I guess I gotta figure out where that other one is now. Which I guess would be in this one. Yep, there it is. Just that one's just called Mountain. So well, that's all right. Well, so my original concept for this apparently involved a lot of warm tones. So I got to figure out what I want to do then. Dry brush some highlights onto these rocks. Okay. Yeah, it's a pretty decent start. I actually, I'm leaning towards like a red oxide almost. Just realized the camera may not be white balanced. So I think you're getting a lot bluer. Well, it's hard to say, really. It's very hard to say. Oh well, we're just gonna leave it as it goes. And work just some other color in here and see what happens. Keep it maybe a little more transparent. It's a good thing about paint is you can always just paint over it. Yeah, don't like it, paint over it. Although I do kind of like that, so I think we can stick with it. Put a couple of rocks in here. And then highlight them. Oh, sounds like the garbage truck's outside. Guess I have to go get my can eventually here. Alright. Oh, there was one more there. Totally missed it. So the fun trick to this one is these spires that are up in the center are going to be shadowing the ground underneath. So I actually have to let this dry before I touch it again. So we're going to go ahead and switch over and work on this one. We've already established a lot of these darks in here. So I actually think that we can kind of go right into our first highlight layer. I think I like them paired like this. Feels nice. Getting a little purple in my highlight. Thinking about what color the sky is and everything. This will need I think a second shadow to make it look like not a waterfall. Although I think it could be good. Could be good either way. Kind of gets me excited to think about what a piece like this could look like if I actually define the rocks as waterfalls. I'm not going to, but could be neat. That's all I'm saying. Alright. So I'm going to add some cross-hatching here just to kind of be sure that they do feel more like rocks than falls. For a second I thought my playlist ended. It was, this song just starts really quiet. What's going to define this for us to make sure that it doesn't look like falls is, rather than putting mist layer, is to put sort of a darker layer underneath. So we're going to get some of that dark and just pull it up from the bottom. Yeah, there we go. I need more orange juice. Man. Okay. Okay, so where are we at? Okay. So I want to establish spaceland. actually like the idea of making this grassy leading up this mountain, but I'm not sure. Haven't quite decided yet. Or at least some sort of a color variant. Because this is almost monochromatic and I don't want it to be that way. Yeah, this one's actually a lot more simple, which is nice. So we're going to go... So I think we need a slightly more liquidy black. Oh, that's what I need. I need reds in my shadows. Oh, no wonder it wasn't looking right. We got black, we got an alizarin crimson. Alright. Now. Alright. Maybe some cracks or something in here. Pretty good. Okay, and then we have our little shape in the background, which I think is just going to be a... It was in pen. I think just doing a little bit of a tracing over that in paint should be more than enough. Basically just fading the shape out a little bit. Actually, not even fond of that. I liked it when it was more defined, so I'm going to lift that right back off. There, that's fine. Base is just a little bit white, misty almost. I think I will grab a pen though and drop in a figure. Actually, where's the other pen? This is a nice one. One of those ones that has maybe less ink in it. There. Okay. That one's gonna need a little bit more, but I gotta wait till that dries. Let's go back here. I like this. It feels kind of like snowy. That's nice. Okay. So we're gonna get. I still like the idea of this being greener, but I think I gotta let go of that idea in order to make this a little nicer, and a little bit more defined. I think almost. I know I said I want to let it stay cool, but I like the idea of using a yellow to highlight it, or even like a yellow and black mix, because that tends to lean a little greener to some degree. I think it might add just the variance I'm looking for. Especially if I leave all those red undertones. Okay, that's pretty good. I like that. So I think the only thing I have left here on this one is shadows. Maybe a couple little finishing details like I had going before. Pretty good so far. If you're just joining me though, I know it's still probably pretty early in the morning, especially for you West Coasters. Hanging out in the studio today, working on finishing some mini paintings, at least at the time being. Finished a larger, was it a 12 by 24 I think earlier, and I've got a small wood piece I want to start as well. Hopefully gonna get as much of this stuff done before lunch as I possibly can. Alright. Darker. Then comes the fun part. This shadow for the spires. Oh, spires and the go from about here up, and there to here, there to here. And same deal as before, put a little figure in. Tuck him in the corner. And actually, when I with the pen, I should just want to almost scrape away. Put a few almost like perspective lines in just by scraping the paint. Make it seem sketchy. Okay. So we have, what was it? Signature on top. Okay. And this one I'm calling Trinity Spires. Yeah, that one's been glossed already, so that's actually good. So that's done. So that is the first pair. Gonna be on a giveaway on the YouTube channel upcoming soon. Actually, I like the idea of pairing these together like this because these are a lot more saturated and these are a little bit duller. So I feel like they're nicer that way. Should be a nice surprise. In theory, I should have had them all be horizontal like that, but I think I wanted to have at least one vertical one, so that's what it ended up being. Yeah, so this was actually almost done as well. I think I just wanted to get a little more of those red tones in there, specifically in the shadows of the rocks. So I can just dry brush them up and in. All right. Same deal, sign it on the top. And the bottom. Actually, I might sign it on the back as well. Since that's pretty absurd. And then I want to get a title for this one. Question is what to call it, you know. So normally I have titles long before I get to a painting. And like it's usually done in the sketch, but okay, I feel like this one to me, if you've ever played the game Majora's Mask, Zelda game, and there's a temple called Snowhead where it's a winding path up to a temple. So I think it would be fun to call this one something about temple path to the mountain temple. I like that. All right. So this, call them done. We have 4 mini paintings. Will be a giveaway, so one person will get these 2, other person will get these 2. So, should be good. Okay, so these also are good hit with the top coat. And now I can move on to the next piece. Okay, so this one's actually really interesting because this one, aside from needing to zoom my camera back out, is actually a remake of a earlier piece. I can probably actually zoom a little bit less. I'm not sure how. Okay. Gotta make sure I'm focused as well. Put that there. Actually, that's not going to help. Need something with a little more definition. Let's put this up. Alright. Okay. That's pretty good. Alright. So this particular piece, is a remake piece. I did a painting in 2012, so 5 years ago, I think exactly, or at least very, very close. Let's see what this was March 2012. I did this piece, and I like this piece. I like a lot of things about it. I think it's really fun, but one of the problems with this piece is just it was in a lot of my execution. I ran into a lot of issues, and I've learned a lot since then, so I actually really want to do just sort of a new version of it. So I don't have a color concept for this piece, because I've got this. I have the painting I'll be working from, and sort of refreshing it, and scaling down the size, too, significantly. So yeah, gonna be doing that. Hey, we have Soul Hound in the chat. Welcome. If you're just joining in, I'm hanging out this morning, working on some fantasy landscapes, and giving some tips and tricks along the way, so I hope you guys find this interesting. I've been streaming for the past 2 hours, but actually really no chance of stopping at this point. I'm really in a good working mood, so I gotta move my palettes over. Get some new palettes, some new colors out. So for this, I think just to start, yeah, I'm, oh man, how do I want to even start? Actually, I want to get these edges taped off. Normally I paint around the edges, but for a piece like this that's wood, I like to get these, keep these clean and then like stain them later. So I want to run in and get some tape from the garage, so I will be right back. Okay. So I need to get the tape. I had some thin drafting tape here, but that wouldn't do me any good in the long run. So, new palette out. And I won't need to tape all the whole edge. I just need a little bit right on top. Actually, no, I don't even need the... Well, I don't even know at this point. Well, it's better just do all of them, because I don't know how long I'm going to be working on this one. At least today, anyway. There we are. Ow! Forgot my chair was there. Alright. Okay. Took me a while to kind of get back into a production mood. Glad I'm back to one now. Alright. Okay, so I gotta start with the sky. Simple blue and white. Nice and easy. I'm Soul from YouTube. Cool. I feel like I should probably know who you are, but sorry. It's very hard for me to keep track of people. I'm Soul from YouTube. I'm Cinderblock Studios from YouTube. Alright. Tape. Do a cobalt blue sky. I like that idea. Cobalt. Cerulean. Do a mix. A nice, good, reliable brush here. Alright. Actually, another piece I need tape is this water line. Now, I was talking to a friend of mine last week. He was like, oh, there's sort of an interesting idea with sort of like this rise and fall of the ocean. It wouldn't be in a perfectly straight line. And while I do agree with that, the whole point of me doing this painting again was to make this a nice clean line. So I think to abandon that idea now would be stupid. So I would say for the most part we're probably just going to be starting the sky of this today. And then I'm probably going to work on some other pieces today too. I've got some bookmarks I got to finish up. And I want to get, what is the other thing I wanted to do today? I don't know, I can't remember. Oh yeah, the digital concepts, so I definitely want to work on a few of those before lunch as well. So I'm going to work up until about lunchtime, 12 o'clock EST. So which is, I think, about another hour. Yeah, roughly about another hour. Tends to be good to keep the shows around, I think, an hour. Or not an hour, around 3 hours is sort of how long it's been going now. Or 2 hours so far and 3 hours total, I think is a good general amount of time. So I'm working on wood for this. This is really smooth. A bit different than my regular canvas working. That actually has a little bit of texture to it, so smoothing out the paint will be a little more interesting. Alright, we're going to mix up our blue. That's really bright. That's good. lay it on nice and thick. So yeah, sorry I don't know you off the top of my head. My only thing is, the people that I do know from YouTube, like by name, are the people that make comments a lot. So make more comments. I'll get to know you. It looks pretty nice. Bring another white layer into this. I'm gonna clean this. So now I got the blue in there. I didn't want to have the blue in there. Alright. I originally had clouds in this piece, but I don't think I need clouds, to be honest. Or at least very few. Just a couple of small fluffs, maybe. Man, that's a beautiful sky. Alright. I actually want to scrape away at where I had this shape. Oh, hell. Too far. Too far. Idiot. Too much, too much, too much. Okay. Genius. Gotta angle that up more so I don't... Oh, shit! I did it again! I gotta get a different knife. Okay. Let me get this. I won't make that same mistake with this. Plus side to working on wood is you can really scrape away a lot easier. Alright, that's it. Yeah, problem is I lost a bit of white here. So I gotta get that back in. Gotta keep pulling it in. So I have this funny shape. Just gonna get some blue just as my base. My rock shape. Okay. So I've got a lot of other color here on my other palette, which I might be able to work into making a nice dark grayish color for this rock on the surface slide. Yeah, the other problem with wood is the absorption rate is almost none, especially if you have a nice primed piece of wood like I did here. I primed it with some acrylic gel, so that it doesn't. Oh shit balls! I really made a mess there. Well, now I gotta fix this. Got carried away. Started talking. There we go. So even with something with acrylics, they're not going to dry as fast, at least by a very large margin, if you're using wood. So if you want your paint to dry slower, paint on wood. I can do a little bit under the surface to start. This real dark area here, which is basically just going to be black. So I can kind of define that. Basically just kind of get some base color in. Okay, I'm going to get a bushy brush. This will work. Just tap it all out. I'm making a lot of noise. Yeah, this will be a nice bass tone to everything. Just wash, get a nice washy layer here. when I peel this tape up, I'm going to have like another inch to go in terms of painting a lot of this, but okay. At this point, I just want to wait till the sky clears up a little bit, or dries up a little bit, and then paint just a couple of small clouds in there, a little bit of a couple of little small fluffs that I can kind of hide in. I think the biggest thing, particularly with the clouds in the last one, well, one, I had a lot more headroom, so I could put them in, but all the exciting thing, all the interest in this piece is down below sort of the surface of the water. So I really don't need to distract from that with a lot of stuff up top. That's pretty tacky. I can probably get some more color into there. Been using this funny brown color all day. Just works well. Of course, now it's starting to dry, so I got dried paint in my brush. Oh, come on, really? Yeah, okay, I maybe really don't have a lot of this paint left. I thought I had more. At least not stuff that's any good at this point. It's all starting to dry. Okay, I'm actually going to peel this waterline tape off, because I want to do this while this is still wet. Because the tape is actually going to go back over top of the sky once the sky dries. Yeah, if you're gonna tape a painting, taping on wood is a lot easier than taping on canvas, because canvas will absorb. This, I got a nice clean line here. So now if I go anything I'm doing over top of this at this point is fine. Because again, when I do that other layer of taping and come in with the layers of the ocean, it won't be an issue at all. But I'm actually going to try and just bring some of this color up in here. Just this wet blue. Define that line a bit more. Not coming all the way up, just enough to figure out where one color stops and the other one starts. Okay, so I might be able to get away with some clouds now, as long as I'm careful. Just put a couple in here. Whoop, whoop. Whoop, whoop. I'm keeping the paint really thick because I know my underlying stuff's still pretty wet. So blending this out shouldn't be too bad. One there, maybe one up in here. Okay, I need a brush just to kind of pull that out with. Tap it. Right about like that, just that tiny bit. Is that really the end of my playlist? I didn't think it was. Yeah, apparently it was. Alright, well, a couple of tracks here I can snag. Actually, where's my... I don't have it open. Half hour left. I'm sure I can find something around here. Alright. This was a good song to pick. Yeah, I'm glad I decided to put a couple clouds here. Makes it more defined like the old one, and that extra variant is nice. I'm pulling up some paint here that's bad. Because I'm still... The surface layer of the paint was kind of dry, but the underlying texture, the underlying stuff was not, so... I got dried paint in my brush now too, which is not helping. Alright, I gotta give that a minute. Or actually, I can probably just grab a different brush and something a little softer maybe. Pull it up and out a little. That's nice. Yep, a couple of small fluffy clouds in there. Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, so by just straight comparison, I mean, again, we're talking about a 5-year difference in terms of understanding of painting. Uh, kind of a big deal, you know, from one sky to the other. It's a big jump. Uh, to be fair, I was never happy with my clouds in the first place on that piece, but like I overworked them basically, and I knew that even then. But really happy so far. Okay, now I may actually I do have to stop working on this for now. Just because I don't want to destroy it at this point. I think, where's my used white at? There it is. Why isn't that here? There we are. All right. Okay, so this one, we're just going to sit to the side. We've got some bookmarks that we can do in the last few minutes. The thing is I'm really trying to maximize this because I know as soon as I break for lunch, I'm going to get distracted and then not work on anything else today. So, these are some watercolor bases, and I used an ink stick to kind of get the different black areas here. Excuse me. So, really happy with these so far. But I need to get something. Haven't quite decided what I want to do here. Got some mixed ink in this little jar. And I want to get a watercolor brush, I think. Oh, there goes my ink. All onto the thing because I spilled it. Fantastic. Well, I guess I'm working off of there. little water in that. Just use a palette right on there. Okay. So I'm kind of treating this almost like a bamboo brush to get these real thin lines here. I just want to maybe do like a tree or something in each of them. So I'll start it here, take it down. Boom. Maybe I'll come in with acrylic and highlight these later. Or just even like a white pencil, I think would be ideal. Okay, where do I want this one? Right there. Yeah, those look nice. This was really an experiment. All my bookmarks are very experimental, so getting them to turn out looking pretty nice is always fun. It's actually working rather well to mix this right on the cardboard. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna pour that right back out in there. Just gonna pour some more out. Since it worked, you know. Not a ton of lines, just a couple. And then... No, I want to... Okay. These bookmarks are always big sellers at shows. Tend to be really fun to make, too. Alright. That feels pretty good. I think I'll add a shadow to each of these trees, though. Here. Here. Yeah, I think just a little bit of white colored pencil could really, it's really going to make this kind of stand out. Just realized I have paint over on my other palette. Normally I scrape that into a jar, but I think I'll just let it go today. Tends to work alright. Okay. So watercolor brush, whether ink or watercolor, what just gets rinsed. And I want to get a white colored pencil. And we'll start on the one side here where I know it's relatively dry. It's not going to highlight, is it? It's gonna be too dark. Oh, wait a minute. What? White ink pen. Crap. Didn't even think about it that way. Okay, I gotta run upstairs, get my white pen. I'll be right back, and we'll wrap this show up. Okay. White pen. Normally I'm just sketching with these during the day, but I hadn't really thought about using them on a bookmark before. Good call. This way I can get those freehand details. Not have to worry about anything else, really. Aha, check that out. That's nice. Put some grass in there. I can tell these are going to move at my next show. It's always the new ones that people seem to like. Got some older ones and like, and they flip through them. And then like the most recent one I did, everyone's, oh yeah, I'll take this one. I'm like, great. Not that I really care. It's just like, man, buy some of the old ones. That way it'll be just new ones. Yeah, there we go. Just realized I should have left these foreground things like in just flat silhouette, but whatever. Live and learn. I'll know for next time. Speaking of next time, I am really just loving this working set. I'll have to try more of them in this using some of these techniques. That's the thing is, when I do bookmarks, total just like BS experimental stuff, stuff that I'm not usually paying attention to, and a lot of times I'm like discovering new techniques as I do it, so it's really fun. You want to know how to develop techniques as an artist, just play around and do crap. And then I'm like, whoa, I didn't know I could do this. This is awesome. Like, so the background to these, one of the things I picked up recently was an ink stick and grinding stone. And so the flat gray stuff, the more transparent stuff you see, was the grind with water, and then just kind of brushing it on. But one thing, particularly with this watercolor paper, is it really kind of was soaking it up and spreading it out. So eventually I just took the stick itself and just started rubbing it on the paper, and that's how I got this sort of like crayon style texture in the background. It was just me taking the stick and just going like that, and just drawing with the stick directly. So ends up being pretty good that way. Alright. So, I feel like that's a good, really good, productive day for us today. So I got, let me just bring all the projects back out here. Alright, actually, you know what? I kind of want to sign this in a different color now, but I might just have to leave it. So I finished this piece. I finished 3 mini paintings, which these are out of frame, you can't even see them now. 1, 2, 3 mini paintings finished to complete the set of 4 for a giveaway. I finished 4 bookmarks. I started another piece. I feel like that is a really, really good, solid, productive day. I am very happy with what I've got done today. So I appreciate you guys joining me this morning. This particular video will be available on Twitch. I think it's for the next month or something like that, whatever, when the 30 days is up. But I've been recording this in the process of just streaming it as well. So you'll see a time-coded version. Speaking of which, I got a Time Code Fridays tutorial. Time-coded version of this video up on YouTube probably within, I would say, the next 10 minutes, at least in terms of when the stream finishes. So again, thanks so much for joining me. My name is Ben Yonkel. I'm an artist living and working just north of Pittsburgh, PA, here in the United States. I love fantasy landscapes, games, movies, stuff that inspires art, the kind of art that I make, as well as things like concept art for all of that stuff. You can check out more of my work on my website, cinderblockstudios.com. Also check out the website, cinderblockstudios.com/learning-resources. Check out a lot of great resources for the aspiring artist as well as the seasoned professional. You can follow my work on Facebook, DeviantArt, as well as Twitter @CinderblockArts, as well as going to either the Facebook fan page or the Twitter account. You can get updates about what time I will be streaming next. Usually it's no more than a day's notice, so I do apologize for that in advance. But again, thanks for joining in. I hope to see you guys soon, and have an awesome day. Keep on painting.